Welcome, officials. This is the first of what will be many weekly training videos for the state of Wyoming and the Wyoming high school football officials across the state. This is Tyler Spear, your coordinator of football officials. For today's training, I thought we'd start with 3 videos, and those 3 videos will cover the state point of emphasis, national point of emphasis, and a mechanics item that I think are worth addressing as we progress through our season. Now, before we get started, a couple caveats. The first of which is, if you're reviewing film and you see a play or a clip that you think might make a good item for one of these trainings, please don't hesitate to send me that play number and that game information. I will pull it up on Huddle, and it might just make one of these. So would invite that from anyone, and certainly will utilize what I can, particularly if you have questions on judgment calls. I want to do those. But also any mechanics issues you might see out there. So I invite that. I also invite your feedback. So don't hesitate to shoot me a call, a text, an email with any feedback you may have on the videos or on the weekly emails or anything else of that sort. Lastly, before we begin, I just want to clarify that if you see your association or your crew on one of these clips, that's not an attempt by me to be picking on anyone. It's just as I sift through film and I watch a ton of film, I see items that are worth talking about. And sometimes they're correct, sometimes they're incorrect. And so if you see your film, it's not a reflection of a crew or an official wholesale. It's simply just a snippet into something that I think is beneficial for all of us. So please take it as that. And you'll see from this first clip, actually, that turnabout is fair play, because my association and our officials are the subject of this first clip. So everyone's fair game here, but we'll go ahead and get started. So this first clip has to deal with the state point of emphasis on sideline warning. And so you'll see here that we have 3rd down and double sticks from the 14-yard line. And we'll go ahead and let this go. But as we begin, I want to draw your attention to the bottom of the screen here. So this is a grass field. I'm going to see if I can get a better angle here, but this is a grass field and a relatively well-marked one, but still a grass field. And obviously on field turf fields, seeing the restricted zone is really easy. Sometimes grass fields, it's a little more difficult. But in this situation, if I draw your attention to the bottom of the screen, you'll see that it's really clear here what this looks like. And so if you look, we've got this great rubber mat here. That is where our players, our coaches, our team personnel should be. And then if you look kind of through on this angle, you will see a grass restricted area. You can already see where I'm going with this, but honestly, on this field, it could not be more clear. I think we would all agree. And so we'll let this play go, and you will see we have a change of possession. We're going to address the change of possession here in just a minute. But first, let's draw our attention to the bottom of the screen and this official here. So we have reverse mechanics. We're going out of the end zone, headed the other direction. The line judge's attention is looking off ball here. We're looking here, or we're looking here for lead blocks. So our attention is elsewhere. And as we progress through, we have some problems. In fact, I would argue the whole coaching staff is in the restricted area here while the ball is live, and that's an issue. So as this wing official goes by, they drop a penalty marker, which is a correct call. We'll address the over pursuing here in just a little bit, but obviously we have an issue here on what is a considerable moment in the game. We have a momentum swing, if you will, and so our attention is elsewhere, and our attention is heightened, because this is where you get players swimming upstream, the old kids with bricks adage that we talk about. And so again, as we play this, you will see that even though these coaches are scooted back, they're still in the restricted zone. Though I would argue this cat here, he's right in the middle of it. This guy's probably on the field. And so we have issues here. And so as we work through this, this is a correct call. Contact was not made, but this is a correct call. And kudos to this official for dropping this marker. I would say this is a penalty marker that needs dropped at all levels. So this would be something I would encourage you to look at, and this would be judged as a correct judgment call here. Since we're on this clip, I want to look at the change of possession and the mechanics here. So as we get started, we'll let this play go a little bit. We have a change of possession, and there's the pick right there. The first thing I want you to notice is I would consider this to be mechanically correct. Perhaps the wing officials could be a little bit downfield, but really shouldn't be on top of this play by any stretch of the imagination. The back judge is on the end line. That is, for me, correct mechanically. If you have a running team, perhaps you could be on the goal line in this situation, though I would say from the 14, that's probably too close. The biggest thing is don't stand in no man's land. Either be on the goal line or be on the end line. Being in the middle of the end zone doesn't help anybody. So I would say this is mechanically correct. Even though we do have officials in those positions, obviously, we've got a pylon situation here. And so the back judge and the head linesman would need to have an opinion on the momentum rule on this as well. So keep that in mind. And as we let this play go, I want you to look at the head linesman. And as I told you about turnabout being fair play, this head linesman is yours truly. So when we talk about reverse mechanics, in an ideal world, it's nice to work these like a college side judge or field judge would and backpedal and keep things in front of you as best you can. In this situation, that's not going to work. Not only are these athletes a whole heck of a lot faster than me, but also we need to be able to see what we need to see, which is lead blocks, kids with bricks, that kind of a thing. And so a little sloppy here, but more importantly, what I want you to look at as we slow-mo this is, what is this wing official looking at? Well, if we look at the bill of the hat, it's very clear. This wing official is looking at the runner. That is mechanically incorrect, and it's actually problematic because when we look, if you watch this player right here, we're going to have a block on this return that needs to have eyes on it. And perhaps the umpire has a look at this, or perhaps the opposite wing. But still, this is something where the head linesman's mechanics would be incorrect in terms of where they're looking. So as we go, backs out, lets the runner pass, that's great. However, this head linesman is still looking at the ball carrier. And so if we back this up, I'll let it play full speed. You'll see what is perhaps doesn't have eyes on it. We have a block with no one looking at anything but the ball carrier. Now, again, if we look at this block on this player right here, you will see there's no issue there, but it still merits our attention, right? So in this situation, it's good to just back up into that side zone, let the play go past, and then set our eyes quickly on those lead blocks, which is where our attention needs to be. Last thing on this play is you're going to see action in the side zone. So our ball is dead around the 28 to 29 yard line, somewhere in there. Obviously, this wing official we've over pursued. We need to get back over to the 28-ish, 29-ish, so that we can have that cross-field mechanic that's the incorrect line. The 28-ish, the 29-ish, so that we can have that cross-field mechanic with our other wing official, because this wing official is doing one thing correctly, and that is pivoting to look at opposite players in opposite colored bench. That is a safety thing. That is our priority. The spot's going to be there. We can leave that spot. We need to make sure that we emphasize player safety. So as we back this up, I'll play it through. So wing official on the bottom, get back into that position. The H left the spot. That's okay to go get opposite color out. But the good news is, if we back it up here, let this go. Again, the 28 to 29. The head linesman goes into the bench. But here's the good part is we have an umpire attempting to have a spot while also dead ball officiating. So we have a bit of a crew save there. So kudos to the umpire for doing that. But the wing official ideally would be there too. We have a referee coming in to help. We have a back judge coming in, dead balling, and perhaps helping here as well. This is how we cover one of those opposite color out of bounds plays. So we don't need to worry about the spot. The spot will still be there. That's okay. Focus on what we need to focus on. Don't turn around and look at the field. There's nothing that the field's going to do that is going to be a foul. make sure we're focusing where we need to focus. So some good, some bad on this one, but ultimately, what I want you to take away from it is this would be a correct call on the sideline warning, and it'd be what we're looking for at the state level. Our next clip comes from another in-state game here, and it's 2 plays back-to-back. The point of emphasis we're covering here has to do with helping the runner. So we have a goal line situation here. And as we let this play go, I see indicators if I'm the referee, and that is where this particular running back happens to be lined up. That's an indicator for me that we may have this. But as we let this play go, we've got no issue there, no big deal. Is there an indicator by how that back crashes down? Sure. An indicator, but nothing that merits concern here. But as we look in the second play, a couple things of note. First of all, back judge. Why are we standing there? There's no reason to be standing at the top of the E. Get on the end line. You're the only person that's going to be able to have an opinion on that end line. And if this team were to, instead of sneak it, do a pop pass to the tight end, you're either in the way or you're certainly not in a position to make a ruling. So in future, make sure we're setting up on that end line. But more importantly, watch. I want you to watch right here, number 11 on this play. Same formation, we have the bunch here, but the difference here is you have 11 stepping in and clearly putting hand and helmet on the back of QB1 in an effort to, what turns out to be a successful effort to get QB1 into the end zone. We'll watch it one more time here. And you can clearly see the push to get QB1 into the end zone. So as we look at these 2 plays, again, the first play, we have no issue, some indicators, but no issues. The second play, clearly that is helping the runner. That is a national point of emphasis this year. And I would give this crew a correct call for throwing on this play. That is exactly what we're looking for. That's exactly what we're looking to prevent in terms of the play this year. A good item of note, I would say, is that umpires and referees, this is a great talk-to opportunity. So if you see them bunching up like that, it's a great opportunity to just remind those running backs, those wing backs that motion in, hey, don't push your QB. Don't put your helmet in the back of the QB. That's not allowed. Reinforce and remind on that, because that is no longer allowed. And in fact, it's an instant flag. It's actually a safety issue too. So kudos to this crew for getting this one correct. So one last time through, 11's tilting. It's so easy to see it, but kudos to this crew for getting it right and taking this touchdown off the board. All right, the last play we're going to look at here, officials, deals with a mechanics item. And so one of the things I'm seeing a lot this year throughout the state is an increased use of the no huddle, or what we might call tempo. In the weekly email this week, there's an attachment dealing with how to referee the tempo offense. And I'd encourage you to review that in your pregame. But something of note as we look at tempo is when you're meeting with coaches that work this no huddle offense, this hurry up offense, the one thing I want you to remind them, well, there's 2 things. The first of which is they have to get their receivers above the numbers, okay? We're seeing some issues with that. And between plays, they've got to at least check in above the numbers. Even if they dink right in and then go right back out, they've got to be checking in above the numbers. That is a rule. And if they don't do that, it needs to be flagged for an illegal procedure, a live ball foul. Not blowing that dead, but it is it's a foul at the snap. So keep that in mind. I'd encourage you to flag that if you see it, but be sure on it. But more importantly, so remind your coaches of that. The other thing is you need to remind your coaches that you are okay with them working tempo. It's good that they're working that no huddle offense, and you'll allow that tempo. But what you won't allow is what we'll see in this play. And that is we can't allow our officials to not be in position to do their job. And so as we let this play go, we have a 1st and 10. And as you can see, right from the get-go, we are not only out of position, we are in what I would call problematic position. And so I'm going to let this go through. There's an end zone view. Again, we're starting the clock on 1st and 10, but we are right in the middle of the action here. There's no way that the umpire or the referee in this situation are two inside-out eyes here. There's no way they're in position to referee this play. And when our eyes are moving, we can't see things as clearly. That's problematic. We're way too close. And so on this play, there are a number of strategies to try. Maybe for the umpire, what I would say is find a way, maybe or a pathway to backpedal out of the spot as opposed to turning our back. That way, at least we're facing the proper direction. That can be a strategy, assuming there's that clear pathway. Another thing to do is to be talking to QB1 in center and say, wait until I get in position. I'm going to say, hold, 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 and then I'll say, go. When you hear go, you can snap the ball. Work with QBs, work with that. Wind the clock a little earlier, get the clock going, but make sure you can bail out as well. But find a strategy that works for your crew so that you can be in position to officiate, because what you have here is a referee that's literally in this play. I mean, we're within a yard of having a real risk issue here. Forget the fact for a minute about being in position to officiate. I'm interested in y'all's safety, and this is an unsafe situation as well. I mean, our attention's not where it needs to be. We're clearly in the line of fire, can get hurt. We're not in position to officiate. So for all these reasons, if you're working tempo, I'll let this go through one more time. If you're working tempo, please work with those schools that are running it and reinforce that, coach, we want you to go tempo. That's okay with us, but we have got to be in a position to officiate, because what we have here is a real issue, not only in terms of mechanics, but also in terms of player safety. So I put that here to keep that in mind, because most importantly, we can't do our jobs when we're not positionally correct, and we can't do our jobs if we're sitting on the carpet because we got trucked by some kid that's bigger and faster than us. So all this to say, I just encourage you to try and work with teams on that. In conclusion, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Thank you for your attention, and slow whistles out there. Be safe, stay hydrated. This is Tyler Spear, coordinator of football officials for the state of Wyoming. Thanks for your time. And again, good luck out there. Take care.